The mighty Mjolnir, a magical hammer which prevents people from picking it up, unless of course you're worthy of its power. Very few characters in the Marvel Universe have ever been able to pick up this mythical weapon. But today we're going to be talking about a rather unconventional character, someone who you might not expect has actually lifted this hammer before. Yes, today we're going to be talking about motherfucking Deadpool. Hello! Welcome to Brain Spill, the laziest show on the internet. My name is Tank, and yes, Deadpool, the merc with a mouth, the character who you would be the last person to expect to be worthy enough to pick up such a weapon, has done so in the past. And today, we're going to be exploring that in some detail. Anyone that's ever watched a Marvel film will know of the Norse god Thor and his mighty hammer Mjolnir, a hammer of great power, only to be wielded by those who are deemed worthy. The type of person who is able to lift this hammer is few and far between. That is, even with the likes of Thanos, the massive powerful purple dude, probably can't lift this hammer himself. He would not be deemed worthy. The hammer of the Norse god has been lifted by a few different characters over the years, which includes Thor, Vision, Captain America, Superman, you get the idea. But the black sheep among the cast of heroes who can lift the weapon includes Deadpool, of all people. Honestly, the gun-toting, bad-mouthed killer would be the last person you'd think would be able to do this. We have to make our way to Deadpool comic issue 37 as part of the Chapter X story, where Deadpool makes a deal with Loki, of all people, in order to release his mistress, Death, from a stasis. A stasis which Loki put her in, which is a bit of a sticky situation to be in. Sneaky, sneaky tactics. Well, Deadpool agreed with this, and his job was to go and stop Thor and effectively take the hammer Mjolnir. This doesn't sound like any other assassination job. It would be fine if you were just going to murder the local guy from down the street, but you have to bear in mind, Thor is a god, and Deadpool's Deadpool, so you match the two up and think who's going to win here. In the fighting, Deadpool actually manages to get Thor to drop his hammer, and it hits the ground with a mighty thud. Now, if you were anyone else in this universe, if you went to go pick that hammer up, you would be pulling it forever and ever because you just physically couldn't lift it. You were not worthy enough. And, well, it was almost like having the sword stuck in the stone. It just wouldn't come out, wouldn't budge. However, not if you're Deadpool. He decides to try his hand at it. He goes up to the hammer and tries to pick it up. And miraculously, he actually does it. How? How is this even possible? Is he actually worthy and we just don't know it? That's right, he's apparently been worthy all along, and he decides to start swinging the hammer around in a weightless fashion, and even manages to take up some of the powers of Thor, so he is basically now Thor. Taking up these mighty powers from Thor, he decides to start flying around the city and even dons the winged helm and cape of Thor, effectively pronouncing himself as the new Thor. And with all of his mighty power, what do you think was the first thing Wade Wilson got up to? Well, he goes to Taco Bell, which, to be perfectly honest, if I was in his shoes, that wouldn't be too different from what I'd do. You know what? I was writing this script, and when I saw the comic image, I really wanted to have a costume of this. The Deadpool getup with the Thor costume on top of it. I think for a Halloween costume, that would be amazing. And you know the theme on this channel. Every Halloween, I'm gonna have a stupid, ridiculous, awful costume, but I kinda wanna actually get this. If somehow I can get this costume, one day, I will do a video in that costume. You guys might need to help me find a costume which I can wear. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. How is this even possible? How is Deadpool able to do this? Well, when they say you have to be worthy, that is beyond reproach. And I don't honestly think Deadpool is that. Just to reinforce the point, the blurb at the front of this very comic reads the following. Shrouded in stolen identities and clandestine secrets, the Merc with a Mouth is a man of mystery. Hero, villain, sociopath, Deadpool makes his own rules and plays by nobody's game. He's an agent of chaos constricting order, blasting down the fourth wall brick by brick. Stan Lee presents Deadpool. So, like I asked earlier, how is this even possible? Well, the answer to that question is he's not. Yes, he is not worthy of the hammer, and the reason for this is the hammer that Deadpool picks up is not actually the same hammer. Let me explain. The truth is revealed soon after, where it is found that the hammer Deadpool is holding is in fact just a creation made by Loki, and the real hammer remained where it fell, meaning that if Deadpool went to go and try pick up the real hammer, I'm afraid he would too fail to pick it up. Loki, managing to live up to his name, tricked Deadpool into thinking that he had the real hammer, and although he did have some of the powers, he was not holding the actual mystical hammer. But that didn't stop him from having a go trying out his new powers. Using the mighty strength of Mjolnir, Deadpool takes the hammer to a carnival game and tries to test his strength, and he also hits a home run at a baseball game. Things you do just as an everyday when you're holding the hammer of a god. The reason Deadpool wasn't able to find the actual hammer was that Loki had concealed it using magic, meaning that he would never have seen it in the first place. The problem with this is that later on in the comic, Thor realizes this is the case, and he is able to pick up the magically concealed hammer and tries to use it to kill Death, the mistress stuck in stasis. Thor's reason for doing this was that he sees her as a spirit, a shade, composed of pure evil. Yeah, she's basically evil as hell. Deadpool, understandably, wasn't happy about this and tries to intervene to stop Thor from doing this. Deadpool's efforts are rebutted, however, because Thor manages to get hold of both the real hammer and the fake one and uses both of them to crush Deadpool's head at the same time. He physically gets both hammers and just goes together. And this honestly is a pretty badass way to end any fight. So, despite the fact that Wade thought that he was wielding the powers of a god, standing toe-to-toe with Thor didn't really end well for him. Even though this really was just a one-off occurrence in a comic, I think it was really cool and feeds into the wacky side of the Marvel Universe. A character and story that isn't scared to delve into more off-the-wall ideas and topics. But to be perfectly honest, knowing the extent of some of the things Deadpool has done in the past in the comics, in the various different universes he's part of, this story is pretty normal compared to what Deadpool normally gets up to. So yeah, you know, being able to wield the powers of a god is just an everyday occurrence in the grand scheme of things. And any of those other topics are largely videos in their own right. Thinking about this, it does make you wonder, what does it mean to be worthy? By whose standards are you worthy? What's the measure? What is the threshold that someone is worthy or not worthy? If, for example, you were completely invested in your own belief that you were beyond reproach, could you wield the hammer? I mean, some people might argue that Deadpool is so delusional that alone might allow him to pick up the hammer in a real situation. Would your belief be strong enough that you could inadvertently pick up a hammer because you're so deluded? Who knows? If you liked the video, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to be notified as soon as I upload my next video, be sure to hit the bell button. And if you've got any ideas for what topics you'd like me to discuss next, let me know down in the comments below. As always, sources used in the video will be in the description. When I first found this story, I got incredibly excited because I thought, on the big screen perhaps, we might see Deadpool in the future pick up the hammer. And maybe not, looking at everything that did happen, you never know. In an alternate universe, that might just be the case. I'll see you guys in the next video. Fantastic.